Hello YouTube, this is Goddard Radio Moscow here again with another beer review. Now the other day I was in my local Brewdog pub in Aberdeen and I noticed that one of their old beers from 2009 had made a return. So today I have for you the How to Disappear Completely. This is a seasonal brew and I think it's only going to be available occasionally, so I thought I would bring this review forward and do it for you now while you still have the chance to pick it up. But I've done several different Brewdog reviews before, so I'll put the links for all of those in the description as I usually do with my Brewdog ones, and I'll also take you through the history of the Brewdog Brewery. I've changed it up a little bit since I've already done it before, but if you're simply interested in the taste of the beer, then feel free to fast forward to the last few minutes of the video where you'll catch that particular point. But anyway, Brewdog founded back in 2007 by James Watt and Martin Dickey, both of whom were only 24 years old at the time, but they founded their brewery at the Keswick Industrial Estate in Fraserburgh in the northeast of Scotland. I always describe Scotland as being looking like a monster's head, and this is right up on the very nose of the monster. But they used to sell their beer at local markets and out the back of their old beat up van, as they put it, but they've grown exponentially since then, and that's in a period of only about 6 years. They've grown massively. But Brewdog produce a number of occasional beers, which I said this is one of, but they brew beers in many different styles. You can get ales, stouts, pilsners, you name the style, you'll get it. And they're also very well known for experimenting with a lot of different ingredients. There's one of the reviews you'll find in the description by it's called Hello, My Name is Mette Marit, and it uses lingonberries, and they also had one called Hello, My Name is Ingrid, which had cloudberries. You'd probably recognise those from the Cloudberry Copperberg cider that's been going around. Very nice taste to them actually. But in 2008 there was a big media storm around the company because they produced a beer that was called Tokyo, and this was an 18% beer, and it was the strongest beer that had actually ever been produced in the UK, and a lot of the papers and everything branded the company, James Watt and Martin Dickey, they branded them irresponsible, but they didn't particularly care. They kept on brewing, but they're actually very well known for producing high fermentation beers, and they do this to try and obtain the title of world's strongest beer. But they've produced the 32% Tactical Nuclear Penguin, the 41% Sink the Bismarck, and the 55% The End of History, which was actually served in Squirrels and Stouts, and they got in trouble from the animal rights activists for that, but it didn't stop them selling it. But they do this basically because, as I said, they're trying to go for the title of world's strongest beer, and there's a big sort of competition with a brewery in Germany called Schorschbrau, and they actually hold the title at the moment with Schorschbrau 57, which is a 57% fermented beer. So as you can see, Brewdog need to produce one of around 60% probably to regain that. But anyway, I have some Schorschbraus actually in my house, and I'll review these for you at a later date. But anyway, in 2008 they also began exporting to Japan, Sweden and the USA, and they began their Equity for Punks shareholding program, and this aided the company to grow 200% during a recession. So very impressive. That gives you an idea of just how strong this particular company is. Now in 2010 they opened their first bar in Aberdeen, where I got this beer from in fact, and this was followed by new bars in Edinburgh and Glasgow in 2011, and then there was one that opened in Camden and London, and that year they also launched their second round of shareholding, bringing in 5,000 new shareholders and also £2.2 million worth of revenue. Now in 2012 they also expanded their bars further into England, with locations opening in Nottingham, Manchester, Newcastle, Bristol and Birmingham, and then also a new one in Shoreditch in London. They also have one in Leeds incidentally. I'm not quite sure when that one opened, but the brewery also moved to their new facility in Ellon, which was partly funded by that Equity for Punks shareholding option that I mentioned earlier on. But Ellon is actually closer to the city of Aberdeen than Fraserburgh was, but they kept their Fraserburgh brewery as a beer lab for their experimental beers, and I believe they also produce their high fermentation stuff there as well. But today they are the largest independently owned brewery in Scotland, and they produce about 120,000 bottles per month for export all across the world. You're talking all throughout Europe. I've seen them in Estonia actually. You get them in the Far East and Japan and Korea, and you can also get them in Australia and North America. I heard that you can actually get them in Chile as well, but I'm not sure about that. But anyway, I'll just let you have a little look at the bottle work and the cap. As you can see, it's the standard sort of Brewdog style of artwork on this one. This one has one of the usual Brewdog caps, the blue dog. But I'll just read you, as is usual with my beer reviews, I'll just read you the blurb out of the Brewdog ones. So it says, at a babyface 2.8%, this little beer is a veritable wolf in sheep's clothing. Hopped like an imperial, but with the modest malt base of a mild. Prepare for an unexpected uber cacophony with two big American hops, Centennial and Columbus. A backbone of caramel, chocolate malt and amber malt creates a full-bodied mouthfeel that's repeatedly gate-crashed by a tsunami of amplified citrus and tropical fruit flavours. Prepare to ride the wave and disappear completely. Quite another good blurb on that one, I have to say. But without further ado, let's get this guy open and get on with the tasting of this beer. So this one is a 2.8% mild imperial stout. Not imperial stout, I'm talking rubbish. It's a mild imperial ale. And as I say, I looked up the hops and things for this one, so I'll just tell you that just now. It uses Cascade, Atanum hops, Amarillo, Centennial and Mosaic. And it also has extra pale, crystal and dark crystal malts as well. So there you are. Let's get this guy out and get him tasted. It's a lot darker than I was expecting actually, just on first look. Let's give it a bit more of an aggressive pour, see if we can get some head on this. There we are. Okay, so going by the looks of it, it's a very, very dark kind of, actually a kind of very, very dark mahogany colour actually. Not seeing much in the way of bubbles. If I hold it up to the light, it has a sort of dark, reddy, winey colour to it. The head on it is quite frothy. It has a little bit of some bigger bubbles in it there, as you can see. In terms of the aroma, it's very, very, very citrusy, as you would expect from the hops it has in it. There's some kind of roasted grains in there as well. It's got a little bit of pininess to it as well. Some dark fruits and actually a bit of earthiness to it as well. It's a very typical Brewdog beer in terms of the aroma. It has that big nose to it, and I do have to admit I like that about the Brewdog beers. But that's you know, this is a typical smelling Brewdog beer. If you try them, you'll know what I mean. Anyway, let's get on with the tasting of this and see what it's like. I'm quite interested to try this one, having not had it in so long. The first thing I'm getting off that is the roastiness to it. Yeah, the first thing on this one is the roastiness, and there is that little hint of citrus in there. Yeah, definitely the citrus and the roasted malts are the most predominant flavour in there. There's a little hint of caramel in the background. I'm not getting too much of the chocolate, I have to say. But there's a bit of the pininess in there, but mainly the thing I'm getting is the roasted malts and the citrus element to it on the start. The caramel's just in the background there, and the dark fruits are coming in just later on as well, I would say. The dark fruits, I think, are actually staying into the aftertaste, just with that little hint of roastiness. The roastiness stays with it throughout, I would say. It's actually on the mouth, it's very, very light. It's actually got quite a wet feel to it, this one. It's quite watery. The carbonation on it's just very, very mild. And it has that kind of, it's got a very slight dry bitter finish to it. The main thing on the aftertaste, as I said, is the kind of dark fruits with that little bit of roastiness, in my opinion. It's a very, very drinkable one, this, and it's maybe that's something that Brewdog have been missing a bit. I tend to find most of their beers are sort of sipping beers where you just sit and enjoy the taste. This is a more drinking beer. This is a fairly solid session beer. I think they should do one like this, but maybe a bit sort of sweeter, I would say. This is a really nice, I actually do quite like this one. It's good in that sense because it's quite drinkable. But it's actually, as I say, this is a very, for the sort of style it's meant to be, it's a very drinkable one, but maybe you would expect that with it being an imperial mild ale. They've done it very well. They actually do have the taste of the imperial ale, but they've like they say, they've made it mild and it's very, very drinkable. It's good in that fact. I've never tried an imperial ale that is particularly like that, I have to say. So it's unique in that sense. I mean, I would say this is another really, really nice beer by Brewdog, and they don't struggle to produce really, really nice beers. But I would say this probably isn't my favourite one I've had from Brewdog. as I say, I do like this one, but you know, being in Aberdeen where their main Brewdog pub is, you have the choice, and I would probably pick. I would be more tempted to go with the Hardcore IPA. I really enjoyed that one, or Dogma. I really like that as well. But this is a really, really nice one, and as I say, it's only a seasonal beer. Definitely give it a try. It's reasonably priced as always with Brewdog. So I mean, definitely give it a try if you see it. It's only around for a little while, you know, it's always worth a shout. But anyway, thanks again for watching my beer reviews. Hopefully you've found this one on the this one quite informative, so hopefully you come back and subscribe and all of this sort of thing. But please let me know your own thoughts on this beer if you've had it before. Subscribe, like, comment, all the usual YouTube jazz. But I'll be back. I've got several more bottles of Brewdog to go through, so if you're interested in Brewdog beers particularly, please subscribe to the channel and you'll get more of these videos over the next wee while. But thanks again for watching, and I shall catch you soon. Cheers.